report that's being added to Search and Recover 1.1.5. This is file pool reporting. This is the ability to select file pools, one or more or all of them, and it will analyze the file pool policies and it will report on the data quantity in each of the file pools, and I can either show them all side by side or I could select a single pool. But more importantly, I could select a path in the file system and then I could run a report and show for chargeback purposes how much data is, say, in the fast pool and how much data is in the slow pool. And then, as we've covered previously, we can schedule that on a daily or weekly or monthly basis, and that's how you would set up chargeback. You'd be able to show how much data is on a given path in different pools, and that does include cloud pools, archive node pools, or flash pools that are in the storage array. Welcome to a 60-second feature overview. We're going to go through a new feature. It's an early release feature, and it's a file system browser. This is part of Search and Recover release 1.1.5, and we'll go through we will go through this new feature. We'll be adding to it quite a bit in upcoming releases, but let's go through what we can do with it. So one of the most common requests is how to browse capacity in the file system, and this is used to locate space or what's using the space. So here we had a legend, and if we start expanding the file system, we see 1.6 gig files and a file count. So if we keep expanding this, we're searching the index, and what it's going to do, it's going to summarize which folder consumes 90% of the parent. So here we see IFS data. Data, of course, is where all the data is stored, and so we can see that it is responsible for 90% or more of the space. So let's keep navigating down. And now we can see that this folder is blue, so it's less than 75% of the parent folder, which is 1.6 gig, and then this folder. So let's keep going down, and we'll expand the next folder. So this is the first version of this feature. It's obviously going to be enhanced. It'll support file date filters, so this would be possible to find out what is the quantity of data older than X 6 months, let's say, for last modified or last accessed. So in this version of the feature, we're just showing capacity, but you'll be able to add filters to be able to identify aging data by browsing through the file system. And this is doing live queries to the index. And you'll see that the color coding or the bar is a relative. So if it's less than 75%, the length of the bar indicates which folder is contributing more or less to the folder directly above it. So it's pretty quick and easy to identify folders either by capacity or file count, and this lets you navigate through that file system. So we are going to add a shortcut. It's the ability to jump directly to some lower path in the file system, but we're going to enhance this for more interactive file system management and the ability to export what you're looking at to a CSV file. To feature overview for Search and Recover, we're going to take a quick look at a beta feature. It's the ability to index a bucket or object storage. So I've got a bucket that's already indexed, and I'll just type in the bucket name, and there we can see the URL. In this case, it's an AWS bucket with the path to that object. So this will be a beta feature. It'll support ECS, AWS, Azure, and Google, and a few other S3 endpoints. But now you can index your object storage, set this up on a schedule, and keep the index up to date. And so now you can get file and object searching available. We're going to cover another new quick report in release 1.1.5. This one is a forecasting feature. How fast is my data growing? So I could enter a path in the file system to narrow this down, but let's take a look at some of the options here. So the usual advanced options. We're going to use the created timestamp. That's generally what makes sense. And we can either forecast it, 1 or 2 years into the future. I'll leave it at 1 year, and I'll leave it by monthly. That's the only option so far in this release. And if we run that, what it's doing, it's going to take the last 12 months of data based on the creation date. Then it's going to extrapolate that data into the future, and it shows you a trend line. And you can see here, I've got a trend that's going up in terms of quantity, but my file count trend is going down. So those two graphs are quite interesting. You can, of course, view the rows of this data. You can save this data. But again, to reinforce the automation that's in this release, I could set this up and I could run this on a schedule if I want to continuously monitor a folder for its growth. So that would be a common activity. May not do it weekly, maybe it's monthly. Give it a good name, email address, test it, save it, you're done. You'll get an email update with a forecast of the data growth on a particular path in the file system. Feature overview in release 1.1.5 of Search and Recover. Biggest question we get is how can I easily identify who used the space? So let's take a look at what we can do in this release to simplify that. So we're going to use the who owns what because you normally want to know, well, who used the space. So we'll do a very simple search. We'll say who created data in the last 7 days. And here's the breakdown. So now that's great. You can run this search manually every time you want to know the answer, but wouldn't it be better if you could just schedule that and have that emailed to you? And I could have narrowed this search down to a specific path, but I could just do it right at IFS if I just want to know who's creating the most data anywhere in the file system, or I could narrow it down to a path. So I've set up email already, but let's see how easy it is to set up a scheduled report and have it emailed to me on daily, weekly, monthly, or whatever. So you click this and use the space. So I'll just copy that, make that the subject of the email, whichever format you want. Probably makes more sense to do it weekly. Fill in the email address, click the test button, that'll send you the sample report, and then submit, and you're done. That's it. So this can be done on any of the quick reports, but this is the most common issue or question that we get. How do I identify who used the space quickly and easily? And you're going to get an email or Excel file each week that will summarize who and how much that person created. And if you come back into the tool and you want to narrow it down and understand exactly what was created, well, that's pretty easy too. So you just select the user that you're interested in and say, show me the files. And so now it's going to narrow down the data created in the last 7 days. And then I can keep going, download that to Excel CSV, email that to the user, or whatever I need to do. So you can see how quick and easy it is to do monitoring of the file system. You could do age reports, file type reports. Any of the quick reports support that scheduling feature. We'll be releasing soon an update to 1.1.5 where you'll be able to manage those scheduled searches right here. So we'll take a look at that right now. There's one I created earlier. I can click edit. I can change the parameters if I need to, or I can simply select that and then delete it and start again and do another report. So today this is through the CLI. Now it'll be available to you in the GUI.